Okay, so welcome back to my channel. So I am back with the recap for Love Lies and Records Season 1, Episode 5. And so for this season, there's 6 episodes, so we only have 1 episode left. Okay, so it opens with, the last episode ended with Cait being proposed to and Olivia throwing Rick out. And so the first scene is kind of confused. So you have Cait, she's asleep. And then it flashes to the other side of the bed. And it's Rick. And he's watching her sleep. It was kind of weird. Like, okay, what the hell is going on here? And then you realize that it was all in Rick's mind or something. I don't know. So they were in bed, just not with each other. So Cait was actually at home in bed with Rob. And so, like, okay, that was kind of an awkward situation. And so she realized that, the kids bust in the door. They're fighting and arguing. It's early in the morning. And I think one of them told them that Jamie didn't come home. So, of course, she's concerned. And so her and Rob starts talking. They got the engagement. And she told Rob that there's like a waiting period or something of like 20 days, 28 days from the time you file, I guess, your intent to marry or something. But there's some kind of process that they have to go through. And he was saying that he has some use or lose leave on his job. And he thought that he could use that for their honeymoon. So he wanted to move up the wedding to get married that month so that he'll have the time for them to take a decent honeymoon. And so she basically was saying that she'll see what she can do. And so, of course, she calls Jamie to find out, just to make sure that, she's okay. And, trying to find out why she didn't come home last night. And so, she finally gets up and goes down to see what's going on with the kids. And so, you fast forward. Rob has to drop her off because the night before she had left her car at work because she had, a few drinks and she didn't want to drive. So she ended up taking a cab to the restaurant to meet him. So he ended up having to drive her to work that morning. And so she gets to work and then she doesn't see Jamie. She sees James. And so she's kind of looking at him like, okay, so what's going on? The conversation that Jamie had with his wife, basically, when she said that she was thinking about taking the kids, he kind of it was more important to him to keep his family together than it was for him to transition. And so basically, he showed up to work that morning and he was James again. And she, would talk to him. And she talked to him, was like, well, is it fair that you have to, pretend to be something you're not, and that. He basically said that, I'm trying to do what I have to keep my family together. And so, then Cait tells Rob about the proposal. And of course, he's excited and, ecstatic. And as a friend, and basically said that if she got somebody else to officiate the wedding, that he would never forgive her. And of course, she played, just joking with him. It was like, oh, I thought I would ask Judy. So of course, they had a good laugh. And so Cait and James walk into the office, and who did they see sitting on the desk? Olivia, Rick's ex. And so she basically confronts Cait about sleeping with Rick. And you can tell that Cait, again, that the facial expression she makes, she knows the shit is about to hit the fan. And she's like, well, why don't we come, I would like it if we can go into my office. And basically Olivia was like, I don't give a damn what you want. You didn't care what I wanted when you set up and you screwed my man. So what now? So why are we being discreet now? I mean, I don't think she knows that the whole office knows, but at this point, she's hurt, she's angry and upset, and really don't give a damn. So, and can we be mad at Olivia? No, not really. So, she basically, Cait basically, was trying to tell her that, it was just sex and didn't mean anything. And of course, that doesn't make anybody feel better. Like, I'm going through all this hurt and pain and anguish, and bitch, you sitting across from me telling me that the pain that you caused me wasn't even worth it for you. That's what you're saying? Because basically it was just sex. And so it didn't mean anything to you, but it means everything to me because I'm the one that's on the receiving end of the bullshit, right? So she was basically like, so what did Rob say? And so Cait basically said, Rob doesn't know. She was like, oh, I can't. She said, oh, so he didn't get the video and the photos and the video either. And she was like, and basically Cait was like, he did, but she basically intercepted him. And so Olivia basically threatened to tell Rob. And I'm looking at Cait like, bitch, if that was somebody that should have been punched in the damn face, it should have been her at that moment. Oh, so she was like, so are you just going to break up a home? And it's like, bitch, that was the first time. I mean, there have been times throughout the show where I just looked at her like just giving her the side eye of all side eyes. Like, you are just too damn much. But for her to sit in that woman's face, seeing the pain and anguish that she caused her, and then for you to sit there and say, oh, well, you're just going to break up a home. She didn't break up your home. Technically, you did. But anyway, and Olivia basically tells Cait that, you know, you're not the only one. And you could tell that Cait almost felt jealous. Like, oh, what do you mean? Well, yeah, there's somebody else too. And so this actually goes back to the mystery woman in the first episode. It was the first or second episode where she went to the registrar's office and she asked for Rick specifically, and he was trying to figure out why she was registering the death of her father, but she asked for Rick specifically, and he was trying to figure out why that was. And at some point during the time before now, I just missed it. I didn't get it in the actual recap. He found out that she's actually his daughter. He was a sperm donor in college. And somehow she was able to get these records and find out who her biological father was. And it's actually Rick. So when Olivia showed her the photo, she was like, oh, talking too much, Cait. So when Olivia showed her the photo of this alleged other woman, Cait was like, well, no, that's not what you think it is. And she's his daughter. And of course, Olivia's sitting there like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, what do you mean? And then all of a sudden she's mom like, okay, you should really talk to Rick about this. It's not my place. It's, bitch, you've been doing a lot of things that wasn't your place to do. So stop it. And so basically Olivia's like, what in the world, what are you talking about? Why did you say daughter? And she basically said that, you know, you need to talk to Rick about this. And so, next it flashes to Rob. He's getting to work, and so he doesn't know what he's going to anticipate, because that morning he saw the headlines of the arrest where the police and immigration kind of swarmed the wedding to try to take these people into custody for various things in connection with the murders, the fake marriages, and the whole thing. And so the headlines was like, called him a racist cop. And so of course he's hit the fan because he actually applied for a promotion. And because now this story is out, he feels that it's going to impact his ability to get that, to get the promotion. So he goes into work, and Laura is there because at some point Laura disappeared from the safe house. They didn't know if she left of her own free will, or if she was kidnapped, or if she was somewhere dead. They didn't know what had happened to her. So he gets to work, Laura is there, and he's basically interrogating her about her relationship with these people. And of course, you know, Laura's like, I don't know, you know, they took my passport, they threatened me, I'm scared, I don't know what's going to happen, they're dangerous people, Okay. So Rick finally arrives at work, and she tells him that Olivia was there and basically confronted her and that he should call her. And he was like, no, it's over. He doesn't feel like he needs to call her. He doesn't feel like he needs to say anything to her. And she basically said that she told her about Elle, which is his daughter's name. And he was like, oh, okay, great, right? So he just basically said that he wasn't going to call or contact or explain anything to her, that it was over and done with. He's in love with Cait, and that's not basically all that he can think. That's all that he's interested in. And so after, you know, in the previous episode, after he actually saw Rob down on one knee proposing to Cait. And so he asked her, like, okay, so what did you say? And she, basically, she said yes. And so while they're talking, actually, no, he asked her, what did she say? And so while they continued their conversation, Anna came out and basically said there was some kind of situation with one of the brides, and they needed Cait to come in to diffuse the situation. So, you know, it was a young bride. She's, you know, she's terrified. She's having second thoughts. You know, she loves the guy, and she's going, like, having this, you know, back and forth with herself, if whether or not she's making the right decision, this, that, and the third. And so basically Cait went in to kind of put her mind at ease and just basically talked her through it. And everything was all good. And Jamie actually officiated that ceremony. And so while he was talking, it was kind of, Cait was kind of going over things in her head about her upcoming wedding. And, you could tell that, she's having second thoughts about, second thoughts about the marriage. Because she also has feelings for Rick. But it's like she really doesn't know what the right decision is. And so she walks in, and Matt is chewing everybody out. He's chewing, I think he was talking to Talia, but he was more so upset over the mistake in the registry and how they're going to have to eat the cost of however much it's going to cost for the couple to fly back to London to make the corrections. So basically, and he called Cait into the office and basically asked her, so what is going on out there? Like, what is going on? Basically, he is kind of somewhat chewing her out. Like, I want to believe that I made the right decision by giving you the position, but right now I'm not sure. And she's like reassuring him, like, no, everything's fine. We're going to work everything out. And so she comes back out and she's putting on her blazer and basically she's basically talking to, Judy, and basically, Judy basically said that she thinks that her and Cait and Rob are racist because she feel like they're persecuting Amir because he's a Christian. This is where everything kind of falls into place and so of course, Cait is putting two and two together and was like, okay, this bitch is the one that went to the paper. And she confronted basically, okay, so you're the one that went to the paper. And then, of course, Judy was a liar. So she was like, no, that wasn't me, but I'm glad somebody did. And, of course, Cait was just like, you basically called her a cow. But she basically said, you're persecuting him because he's a Christian. And Judy and Cait was like, he is not a Christian. And, see, Judy didn't know the whole backstory. And so she was like, yes, he is. He attends my church. This is what Judy is saying. And so she pulls, Talia walks by and said, Talia, what religion is Amir? And she said he's Muslim. And Judy's like, no, he's not. He's a Christian. And Talia was like, no, that ring on his finger that has some kind of crest or something on it, that is what men wear. And she said that's what her brother wears. He's Muslim. And so, of course, Judy is sitting there with her face, again, cracked. But she didn't know the story about how he tried to get into the country before, saying that he was being persecuted because he was homosexual, and it was denied. And so, now she's starting to put two and two together. Okay, they played her. And so, basically, Cait was telling her, look, the old saying, keep your friends close or keep your enemies closer, she know that we're never going to be friends. We're never going to be more than colleagues. But I would at least like us to continue to be colleagues. She said, I know that you leaked the story. I know that you broke protocol by pushing their wedding forward. She was basically laying out all the stuff that she knows about Judy. And basically letting her know that if I wanted you out of here, then you would be gone. And so Judy basically said, I'll just tender my resignation. And she said, no, but what I would like is your cooperation. And so, because at this point, they trust Judy. Because they don't know that now she knows the truth she's more informed about what's going on with them. And so now she's in a position to help the police, and to kind of solve these murders, and to kind of try to fix these scam marriages. And so eventually it flashed to Rob. He's back at the police station, but he's interviewing Marcia. Marcia is Ramin's wife. Ramin is Amir's cousin. And so they are, because Laura pointed the finger at Marcia as being that person. I don't know, of having some kind of connection or control over this whole situation. So she gets pulled in. And he's basically talking to her about her connection with these people. And of course, Marcia, is like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, that's not us. I don't know. My white husband don't have anything to do with this. And they're basically kept brought to her with their finances, and basically like, you work a certain job. he owns like a carryout, but you have 2 homes. And she was like, well, he bought that, when he first came here, but he was like, this property is in your name. Oh, she said, well, I chose it, but he paid for it, or some kind of spin she put on it. Basically, she kind of lawyered up, and so they end up having to stop the interrogation with her. Okay, so the next thing that happens is Cait is back in the, I guess the front office. This is where they meet with the people that's coming in to register. She see Dominica. And Dominica has a new couple, a different set of people that she's brought in that wants to get married, and she's the translator. So, of course, automatically that raises eyebrows for Cait. She's looking at her, and Anne was the one that they were meeting with this time. And so Anne is looking like, what's going on over there? And so, eventually, Cait went into the room. They went into the room to sit down to meet with Anne. And Cait went in and was basically, oh, hi. She's like, oh, this is they were like, oh, that's Dominica out translate. She's like, oh, yeah, we've met before. And so she's basically just asking questions like, how did you guys meet? And it's like, oh, and the guy was like, oh, I met in Russia. And it's like 4 days, after 4 days, we were in love with this whole thing. And then even had her parents back there. So we don't know if that's a legit marriage or not. We don't know. But, with her being involved, Cait is like, okay. Anywho. And so, next thing you know, the fire alarm goes off. So they have to evacuate the building. And she's still waiting for Rob to come up so that they can go through the paperwork to, I guess, register their marriage, their intent to marry, or whatever the case may be. And so, Jamie was initially supposed to handle all of that for her. But he got pulled away because a couple that Judy was working with, they're hearing impaired. And so Jamie knows sign language. And so he had to help Judy with them. And so Jamie was helping Judy and was helping Dominica and that group. And so, as things would have it, who's left? Rick. So Rick comes up and like, oh, what's going on? It's an awkward situation because screw this man's wife, a girlfriend, or a partner, a domestic partner, and now you're in love with her. You have feelings for her, she has feelings for you, and now you're being asked to register their marriage. Okay, awkward. So the alarm finally goes off. They found out what caused it. It was just somebody burned their lunch. And, it was Talia. Talia burned her lunch. And that's what set the fire alarm off. And so, of course, they're able to go back into the office. They sit down with Rick. It's just an awkward situation. Rick is being extra. He's being an asshole. He's just asking all these questions. And it's because he doesn't want Cait to get married. No, well, not to Rob, anyway. And so he's asking all these questions, and they find out that they were supposed to bring some document that they didn't bring, which of course Cait should have known, being a registrar, so she should have known all the paperwork that they needed. So, anywho, Rob leaves, and he's pissed. He's like, Rick was an asshole, and he's basically confused about why he was doing all the extras. And then you can kind of see Cait kind of breaking down. And she basically was like, I don't know if we should do this. And he's like, what are you talking about? What, the man? She said, I just don't want to deal with all this stress right now. He's like, whatever. And so he basically said that, and he got hauled in front of his supervisor, and he didn't get the job. And just basically just an FYI, because, she didn't ask about it. And so I guess he feels like, their relationship right now is kind of disjointed. And he felt like it's something that she should have asked him about because it was something that was important to him. That's what I got from that by him saying that. And so he storms out. He leaves the building, I guess, to go back to work. And she goes into her office and she just starts to cry and she's like breaking down. And then Rick comes in to apologize for being an asshole. And then they have a moment. And then they start kissing and it's this whole thing. It's like, girl. Okay, talking about making the bad situation worse. And so the next scene is basically James, it's the end of the day, and James is basically standing in the mirror at work, and he cuts his hair off because he had long hair that he was wearing straight, and so he cut it off. And I guess that was his way of saying that part, he was putting that side of himself or that part of his life away. I guess to be the person that he wants to be for the man that he wants to be for his family. And so, next you forward to Rick and Cait leaving the office. So she's heading out. They've had this moment where they kissed in her office, and it's this whole thing. And see, this is what happens when you watch shows back to back to back. Okay, you shit start running together on you. So it was at this point when they had, because I said in the previous review that this came up, and I'm not sure how, because the conversation they had in the last, it was at night, and this conversation is during the day, but when you watch shows back to back, things start to run together on you. So this was the actual scene where they were having their emotional back and forth, and he asked her, what was she so afraid of? And she said, of being alone. And so she goes home, and she goes home, or she goes to pick up Lucy, because they found someone who was selling a desk. And they wanted her to go and see the desk before they bought it. But it wasn't actually a desk. She'd been on their case about getting a dog since forever, but they wanted it to be a surprise, so they told her it was a desk. And so they get to the place, knock on the door, and it's Simon. So if you remember Simon from the first 2 episodes where, she registered the birth of his son and the death of his wife. And so they get there, and she's like, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was you, this, that, and third. And Rob is kind of like, how do you know each other? And she basically told him the backstory between the two of them. And so next thing you know, this cute little dog walks out, and she's just, oh my god, he's so cute, da 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 da. And then, in talking to him, then she realized that it wasn't about a desk, it was about the dog. And so they like, if you wanna, we could take him today. And she was like, of course, she was like over the moon, like, oh my god, you guys are the best parents ever. Like one of those situations. And so, they get the dog, they go on home, and of course the rest of the family see the dog, and everybody's all excited and ecstatic and this, that, and third. And so Liam takes photos of the dog, with her with the dog and this, that, and of course she wants to get her phone. Now, since that whole incident with her cutting out and leaving her phone, Cait and Rob took her phone. So she now has to ask for permission to use her phone, and even when they give her the phone, she only has like 5 or 6 minutes to do whatever it is she's trying to do. And so Liam took the photos of her with the dog, and he texted them to her. So she wanted just to grab her phone, so that go get her phone so that she can get the photos or, post the photos, whatever. So Rob told her, just go ahead, just make sure you get it before your mother see it, and, put it back, da da da. So she goes into the room. She's in the room looking for the phone, and not paying attention, the photos that were sent to her previously fell out of the drawer. Because all she's focused on is her phone. So she get the phone, she left a mess, and of course Rob is like, goodness, she could have just picked their stuff up and put it back in the drawer, basically. And that's when Rob sees the photos. And so, I have to go back a little bit. So while they were all oohing and ahhing over the dog when they initially brought it, Cait had received the text, and Rob was like, is that your phone? And she was like, oh yeah, it's just work. And so at this point, he's seen the photo, fast forward a few minutes later, he's seen the photos, and he kind of walks behind her. He's not directly behind her, but she's off by herself in the hallway, kind of looking at her phone, responding to Rick's text about how he accepted another job offer, or he is interviewing for another job. And she's basically saying, it'll kill me if you leave right now. And so you see Rob behind her saying, who are you talking to, Cait? And it was like really in this menacing voice. And it scared her, and she kind of turned around and she looked at him, and she knew that the jig was up, that it's all about to come to a head. And that's how this episode ended. So stay tuned for this season finale. And it's wow. So yeah. So I'm going to leave this here, and I will talk to you guys later.